I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids. Hey everyone! Okay, today's episode is inspired by a Facebook group post that a friend of mine saw and then talked to me about after she saw it, because she was so like, what in the world is going on when she saw it? So I didn't see the exact post, but I'm sure you have seen very similar posts to this. Like if you're in any group, or if you follow a lot of different entrepreneurs, like a lot of times people will post stuff like this, and I felt like I just really needed to do a podcast on it. So the original question was something like, the person was thinking about what would their like 100K or seven-figure self do differently than what they do right now. And they were, I think, asking other people like what their thoughts were about that question, but also if anyone was like a 6 or 7-figure earner, what their like different behaviors were than before that they had made a bunch of money. And a lot of the stuff that came up was like, I cut out vacations and like let go of a bunch of friends and like hanging out with friend time, and don't watch TV anymore, and don't drink alcohol anymore, and don't eat sugar and flour anymore, and like all this very intense stuff. And I just looked at the list and was like, that looks miserable. Like that person who has cut out all of those things looks miserable. And like, if that is the price you have to pay to make 6 or 7 figures, like why? What's the point? And so I really wanted to do an episode where we could just talk about that, where I could just like say, hey, I know that there's this message out in the world that you have to be doing all this stuff. Like you have to change your diet and you have to like drink a bunch more water, or I mean, I like water, but still. You have to like wake up early and take cold showers, and like, you know what I'm talking about. You have heard these things. And I think that they get people very distracted and very focused on things that literally do not impact your money making at all. Like taking a cold shower, waking up at 5 a.m., like these things, you do not get paid to do these things. Seriously, like think about it. Cutting out sugar, no one is showing up and being like, here's $100,000. Great job cutting out sugar. No one cares. Seriously, no one cares at all. So if you want to do these things, if you like these things, that's fine. Like do what you want to do. I'm never going to say don't do the thing that makes you feel good or the thing that you want to do, right? Like I'm not going to say that to you, but I'm going to say if you feel like you've gotten the message that you have to do those things to be successful, that is a lie. So I want you to spend some time with this question and thinking about like, what do you think would actually be different about your 6 or 7-figure self? And I would be super curious to see what comes up when you think that. Some of those things might be useful, and some of those things might reveal to you what you think are the barriers between you and making a lot of money. So when the list is like working out regularly and only reading personal development and not having any friends and not watching TV and all those things, and you love watching TV and you love your friends and you love being a couch potato or like whatever, right? What this is reinforcing in your mind is that the type of person that is successful is not you. Like you don't have the traits to be successful. You might be somebody who's just not meant to be successful at all because you don't like doing those things or they don't come naturally to you. So you want to be really careful about what you're believing. And that's why it is really good to ask that question and kind of like dig around a little bit and see, like, who do I think I have to be successful? Because to make 6 figures, 7 figures, you don't have to be that different than who you are right now. And there actually are some things that you do need to give up. So I'm going to talk to you about what those things are. The first thing is anything that feels either heavy or tight in your body. So like if you think about like, I have to do it this way and it feels very heavy or very tight to you, this is something that you need to give up. I know that I had gotten this message from a mentor that I used to follow that was very much like, you have to go to a bunch of networking events. And when I was building up my business, I had young children at home. Like, I was not going to go to a bunch of networking events. And I remember this mentor had talked about driving like 5 hours to go to one networking event. And I was like, literally, I'm never going to do that. So if that's what is required to be successful, I guess I can't be successful. Those types of messages are so disempowering. And so I want you to really be aware, even if it's something I have said, if it makes you feel that way, if it makes you be like, well, that's something I'm never going to do, so I guess I'll never be successful, this is something to question. And like, if you're my client, if you're in Simple Scaling Mastermind, if you're in Mom It Is CEO, and you have these thoughts about something I've said, bring it up. Let's coach on it. Let's figure out your way to do it. Because there's so many ways to be successful. You can find one that works for you, even if you don't see anyone else doing it. So, giving up these shoulds, have tos that feel really heavy or tight to you when you think about them. Also, any rules. There are no rules in business. I've been coaching so many of my clients on this for the past couple months. Like, we have just been throwing out all of the rules. And I think for a lot of my clients, and I'm the same way, we are former good students and like good girls who follow the rules for the most part. We know what is expected of us and that is what we do, or that's at least like what we show and the rest we hide. And this isn't how business works. And so I really want you to question anything that you feel is like the right way, even if you learned it from me. I mean, like, there's very few things in business that are like a must do. Like, okay, people need to know you exist to hire you. That is for sure. If they don't know about you or your business, they aren't going to hire you, right? So like, that is like a core truth. But there's so many ways you can make that happen that you get to decide like what feels good to you and what is like your best way to make that happen, right? I also think like this isn't even a rule. This is just like ethics. Like, you should probably deliver the things that you promise to your clients, right? Like, if you sold them something, you should do that thing. But like, these are like very basic rules, right? These are like the only rules. And even still, like, for sure, there's people who are going to question any rule and make money regardless, right? So there really aren't that many rules. So I want you to question anything that feels like the right way to do it, or the rules, or anything like that, especially if, like I said before, it feels heavy or tight to you. You also want to give up skepticism. So this is one that I struggle with a lot, and I feel like probably a lot of us do. Like, anybody who feels like they're like academic type person or who's really into school and that kind of thing, I feel like it's like more natural for that type of brain to be skeptical of business in general. And so I think you just want to be really aware of the skepticism and not allow it to be something that stops you from making money and being successful. I think a lot of times the skeptic brain can look at unethical things in the online business space or the business space in general and use it as a reason to not build your own business. And I'm not saying turn that off entirely. I'm saying get some awareness about what is it that you're skeptical of. And let's get really clear about that. I coach my clients on this a lot because I do think that there are a lot of so-called best practices in marketing and business that may actually be unethical or may be manipulative or may be not centered around people and may prioritize profit over people. And I'm always up to question those things. And I think where we all land with them may be different, and that's okay. It's really important to look at your own values, your own ethics, be super clear about those things. And I think that will allow you to show up in your business in a way that feels really good to you and doesn't feel like you're going against your ethics and your values. What else to give up? Putting yourself down. I have notes here. It's putting yourself down, being mean to yourself, picking yourself apart. I feel like these are all the same thing. But to build a 6 or 7 figure business and not be burnt out and not hate your business and all of those things, you need to be developing a nice relationship with yourself. So I want you to really think about your relationship with yourself like relationships with other people. So I want you to kind of imagine that your relationship with yourself is a relationship you have with someone else, and think about the way that you treat yourself and if that's how you would treat other people. This work takes a long time. It took me years, and I'm still not perfect. Perfection is never the goal here, but the more that you can work towards being kinder and gentler to yourself, the better. There's just no downside to being really kind and loving and gentle to yourself. So I want you to really be aware of that and really thinking about that. And I love this idea of looking at your relationship with yourself like it's a relationship with somebody else and really evaluating what are the things that I say to myself? How do I show up for myself? If I've made plans with myself, do I show up to them? Those types of things. And the more awareness you can bring to that and start making improvements there. And again, I say this all the time, but I feel like I can't say it enough. Do not use these concepts as another reason to beat yourself up, right? Use it to create more awareness and then start making incremental shifts and give yourself so much credit every time you make a different choice. Every time you create a shift there and your relationship gets a teensy bit better than it was before is a huge cause for celebration, because as women, we are programmed to hate ourselves, to tear ourselves apart, to be super critical of ourselves, to be mean to ourselves, to put ourselves down. I've talked about that on the podcast so much lately because this is how we are trained to be as women. And society is constantly reinforcing that to us. So it's not like your moral failing that you beat yourself up and why am I so mean to myself? No, you were taught to do that. You're just following through on your training. It's why is the operating system on my computer so bad? Why does it keep doing this thing? It's no, it was programmed to do that. This is the operating system you are programmed with, and it takes work to reprogram program and reinforce new beliefs and practice new beliefs. And this is why coaching is so powerful. And this is why it's so powerful to be around people who are thinking in a more positive way about themselves. This is why coaching communities like Mom It Is CEO and Simple Scaling Mastermind are so powerful, because it's helping to change your brain. Literally, it's helping you to rewire the neural pathways in your brain to think differently about yourself and your goals and money and all of the things. Like, the more people you surround yourself with who are thinking in the way you want to be thinking, the easier it's going to be to shift your brain in that way. I'm not saying like get rid of all of your friends. I'm saying add in communities and connections and friends that are helping you to believe and like think in the new way. Okay, so we're going to let go of being mean to ourselves. This is going to make growing the business so much easier and more fun. And the last thing that I want to offer that you should consider giving up is your aversion to failing. So we've already talked a little bit on here about being a good student and being a good girl and all of those things. And I think from school, we really get this strong aversion to failure and really get wired to perfectionism. Like, so much of the school experience is designed to program aversion to failure and perfectionism into our brain. So again, have so much compassion for yourself that this is how you are, because you were wired and trained to be this way. But I want you to start working on peeling that back and starting to see failing in a different way. I heard this quote the other day. I think I heard it on a podcast with James Wedmore, I think, but he was quoting someone else. So it was like not even his original quote, but it was like, what's the difference between school and life? And the answer was, in school, you learn the lesson and then you take the test. And in life, you take the test and learn the lesson from taking the test. And I thought that was such a powerful way to describe it. And I don't know the original source. I should have looked it up, but I didn't know I was going to share that quote. But that concept that you're taking tests in your business without having learned the lesson, like, of course you're going to fail. That is how you learn in business, is failing. So it is so different from school. It's not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're getting out there and doing something, period. Like, if you're not failing in your business, you're probably not doing anything, because built into it is failure. So I want to give you that encouragement and that permission to let go of these things. And I want you to be thinking about, what are the things that your 6 and 7 figure self thinks about yourself, your business, your goals, your future? What does your 6 and 7 figure self think about where you are right now? These are super fun questions. You really want to be tapping into, what are the thoughts and what are the feelings of that future version of me, more so than like, how are they spending their time? What temperature is their shower? What are they eating for breakfast? Like, who cares? It's probably the same as now, right? I still take super hot showers. I try to sleep as much as I possibly can. I'm eating donuts and pizza over here. I'm reading romance novels only. I am doing a lot of the same things that I did before, and it has not stopped me from being super successful. So you get to be who you are now. You're just going to upgrade your relationship with yourself. You're going to upgrade your willingness to be messy and fail and learn and have compassion for yourself. You're going to upgrade your trust in yourself. And that's it. All right. I will talk to you all next time. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com, mamatoceo.com.